Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you for joining this Saturday session of Travel Marketeering. I am Joshua Harrell. I'm going to be your guide for the next little bit as we talk about how to get started with email marketing. So, a nice, juicy topic. And today we're going to actually dig in and we're going to work on different types of emails that are very common for travel agencies. So I am excited about that, but it is going to be a working session. And so I'm not presenting pretty pictures to you. We are going to dive in and be crafting these messages. So I hope you find it fun. As always, I want to make sure that you use the Q&A down below. If you hit that Q&A, type in your question. Try to give me as much information as possible. It may be relevant to talk about you, but to give me a little bit of background, because sometimes the questions create more questions for me to ask you. So the more of a well-rounded story you can tell me in your question, the better I can answer. So feel free to use the Q&A. Also, as I discovered last week, when you raise your hand to down below, there's a little raise hand. If you raise your hand, then I can select you and unmute you, and you can ask your question. So if you don't want to type it, you can raise your hand and I will get to your question or I'll get to you as soon as I can. So does it sound like a plan? I hope so. Now, if you are brand new to these sessions, hi, I'm Joshua Harrell, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for WorldVia. So I'm responsible for pretty much like you, I'm thinking. I'm responsible for marketing, sales, and the service delivery. And that probably is pretty much like you. If you're a solopreneur or you're an agency owner, you probably are a chief revenue officer. But in the way I like to approach marketing is through systems. So selling your products through marketing systems is called marketeering. Since we put the little travel twist on it, we call it travel marketeering. And you are a travel marketeer. The great thing about systems you can write down on a piece of paper. It's not it's not artistic. It's not a feeling. It's not a vibe. Believe me, I definitely use those. But a system is something that you can write down. And the great thing about that is when you have a system, systems need to be maintained. Systems need a little bit of grease every once in a while. They need enhancements. They need upgrades. And if you have a system, you can diagnose where your problems are, and you can figure out how to make them better. You can also identify, whoa, this part of my system is working really well, but in comparison to another one, that other one needs a little help. So it helps you be very objective about what you're doing. And part of my story is I've been a serial entrepreneur, most of the time a solopreneur. And if you're a solopreneur, meaning you are the only person in your company, only person in your business, you may not be a marketer at heart. Uh, but you have to be a marketer and you have to be everything else to your business. That is very hard because, like a lighthouse, where you put your light, that's the only thing you can look at. So the way I like to look at using systems throughout your business is, as that lighthouse moves around, you've got your systems in place across all areas of your business. So when that light shines on something, then you can tweak the system a little bit and move on. So that is why we call these sessions travel marketeering sessions. And each week, I am trying to bring you all different types of content around different parts of marketing. So some things are going to be the basics, some things might be a little more advanced. But I guarantee you that I'm going to give you everything that I've got to help you in building your marketeering, your marketing systems. All right. So let's get started. And like I said, use the Q&A. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer questions. If you want to raise your hand, then I will let you know when I'm unmuting you and we can have a chit chat. Okay. All right, let's get started. So we're going to be talking about why email marketing is essential to every business. We're going to talk about tools. Most importantly, though, we're going to get into the how to get your emails started. And as much as I can talk about theory, we just need to get in and hit send. That is going to be the number one rule. Just hit send, because you're not doing email marketing if you're not sending emails. Okay. So if you are doing emails or you're not doing emails, just promise me that we are all going to be doing emails by the end of this. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a list. I tried to think of everything I could think of in why email marketing is important. But first and foremost, let's just talk about your personal inbox. Now, you probably get 100 emails a day or close to it. One study even showed that most office workers receive on average 120 emails a day. Yeah, that's a lot of emails. Why are they getting so many emails? Well, emails work. Nobody would do it if it didn't work. And hands down, year over year, email marketing has been the one of the most effective ways to market your business, and the biggest ROI, return on investment, in terms of time and money. It is just it's not going anywhere. It is here to stay. Now, of course, we hate the emails where someone is prospecting, and there's no real value that the email is giving. So the emails that you're sending, they're not like that, because your audience signed up to receive those emails, or they're a client of yours and they said that they would like to stay in touch. So you're not doing that type of prospecting email. And I bet if you were doing that type of prospecting email, say your niche is more meetings and events, so you're reaching out to corporate clients and you are prospecting for those bigger deals. I know you would do it better than the ones that I like to. I have a wall of shame for all of the prospecting emails that I receive, just because if you look at it as an experiment or a scientific study, some of them are just really, really bad, and some of them are really good. And I'm like, am I actually reading this email and am I wanting to buy? I I think I am. What's happening here? I don't respond to these types of marketing emails. But what we're talking about today is your email database, your what you have in your CRM, if you have a CRM, or if you just have an email service provider that you use to broadcast emails. We're talking about people that have opted in to receive your communications. So it's a little bit different than the junk email that you might get. All right. So we're talking to we're engaging with that audience, and they have said that they want to hear from you. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to act on everything, but they said that they want to hear from you. So we want to make sure that we are delivering emails. Now, we'll get into that, but let's talk about why it's important. I'm just going to say, I know it works, so don't challenge me on that. I know that email marketing works. If your emails don't work, then this is the session for you. We're going to be talking about some of the ways that that you can craft your emails to make it easier for you, but also to make it better or more likely to be opened. Yeah. So why is it important? This is Joshua's list. Now I'm talking in the third person. That's kind of scary. This is Joshua's list on why email marketing is important. Well, first and foremost, you don't have to worry about ad space or spend. You're not buying eyes to look at your messaging, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think having a paid marketing strategy is just a part of a well-balanced marketing strategy. So there's nothing wrong with it. But why email marketing is important is the only real cost you have is the cost of your email platform and your time. And maybe if you have outsourced the design of your email, if that is really important to you, that a designer touches your email, there may be some costs there. But in general, email marketing is extremely affordable. Now, I want to back up just a moment to talk about your email database, like your client database. Your business is pretty much, I'm trying to think of how this can be uh, how I might be looking at this wrong, but for most travel businesses, the value of your business is your email database. It is not all about size, it's about quality. Okay. So if you're not making a physical product, you are delivering a service. And over time, you are building a database of people who want to buy your service. And no matter what niche you're in and what type of travel business you're in, your database is how you would value your business. And what I mean by that is if you were to sell your business, you are not selling yourself. You're not because you're selling your business on to someone else. Now, what the service that you've given is something that maybe they can duplicate or mimic, but ultimately what they're buying is your customers, your prospects, anyone that's in your database. They're buying that because you've been able to show that you have attracted a client database that is valuable. They are wanting to buy they want to buy from you. And that is attractive to someone buying your agency or buying your business. So this is where I get into, is that email marketing? It's not email marketing, but it is building your audience. And that includes your customers and your prospects. So you want to, if you're just getting started, you want to make sure that on your website, you're capturing emails, you're capturing information. As you start to grow, make sure that you are capturing all your client information in your CRM, or maybe a database that you've built. If you're just getting started, maybe you're using a spreadsheet if you don't have access to a CRM, but you're trying to get as much information so you can continue to build your relationship with your audience. And again, that's what is truly of value in your business. And you are continuing to cultivate that list. So going back, so if you're not doing that, if you're not capturing emails, you need to, not just for email marketing's sake, but because you need to be cultivating a rich database of your customers or your future customers. Okay. And then that's where we get into, you don't have to worry about advertising, buying, using paid media to reach your customers, because they're already inside the gate. The park gates have opened and they have come in. They're here, and what you are communicating to them via email is that's you own that audience, and it is your job to give them the best that you've got. All right. So you don't have to worry about ad space. Retaining customers. Huge, right? How many times have you heard it? It is cheaper to sell to an existing client than get a new one. And it's also very efficient, because with every new client, you have to go through an onboarding process, right? Well, you don't with an existing client. They already know how you operate. They love how you operate. The proof is in the pudding. They had the pudding, and they are coming back for seconds, thirds, fourths. So it's very efficient. Email marketing helps you stay front of mind with your clients. And again, those future clients. So let's just say this. When I say clients, we're talking about future clients and existing clients, because you're going to be communicating to both groups. Now, you might be communicating different messages, which is excellent. If you've got a nice size list, then you can cater your messages to, here's people who are my customers, here's people who are not yet my customers. Maybe it's the same overall theme and story, but I change it up the way I speak to somebody who is very near and dear to my heart, and then a different message for someone who we're just interested in each other. We're not dating yet, right? Wow, you are getting me on a Saturday, so you have to forgive my tangents there. But retaining customers, so lucrative. But using email marketing is just a way to stay front of mind. How many times have you gotten an email? Like, let's go out of travel. Let's look at if you shop with somebody like Sephora. So if you don't know who Sephora is, cosmetic company. They sell loads of different brands, and they even have their own brand. But they are marketing. If you're on their list, they're marketing all the time. They've got a loyalty program. They're marketing to them and getting message out. They've got loads of things. I use them as an example because I do know a lot of people who are on their email list. And the thing about cosmetics is you eventually run out of the cosmetic that you like, you love. And sometimes that email from Sephora talking about maybe they've got new products or a promotion, or sometimes it's just hey, Valentine's Day is coming up, right? Um, but that email that I see in my inbox, I don't even have to open the email. It makes me think, oh yeah, I meant to order that on Sephora, right? Or on their app. I meant to go into their store. I don't even need to open the email. I just see them in my inbox. So I use that as an example because that's, when we think about things like toiletries and things like that, those are the things that everyone can relate to. You got to stock up. Well, think about it this way. If someone has subscribed to your email list, or opted in to receive communications from you, then they have said, I'm interested. Maybe I have already worked with you, but they've already said that they're interested in traveling. And that could mean loads of different types of trips. So my Aunt Debbie, she has a year, actually a couple of years out, worth of trips with her and my Uncle Jimmy. And then she has a subset of trips that she likes to plan with her whole clan. So the whole family, her kids, their kids, it's the whole hee-haw gang it goes on holidays. And so that's a separate motivator for her to work with her advisor and her travel advisor and plan trips. So just think about this. If my Aunt Debbie is, she's watching the news, she's working on her quilts, because my Aunt Debbie she's a quilt artisan. Just, I know you wanted to know. She's working on her quilts, and then she takes a break from her quilts, she's listening to the news, she opens up her email, and boom, there's her travel advisor. Um, Communicating something like, did you know that this is a new resort has opened up? Da 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 da. Whatever it could be. And that will make my Aunt Debbie sit down, click on that email, maybe go visit a landing page that has been created to tie into that email. Um, or she just makes a note in her diary to reach out to her travel advisor when her travel advisor would be working. Because sometimes my Aunt Debbie, she's working on those quilts through the night. So I'm just saying, you never know when somebody is going to look at their inbox and get inspired. So don't be shy of appearing in someone's inbox. Okay. That's a huge, huge missed opportunity. And as I'll show you in just a bit, it's so easy to send an email. And there are different types of emails that you can send that there's just no reason to not incorporate email marketing into your regular activities, into your marketeering, right? All right. So retaining customers, super, super important. I didn't actually put this list in order. I should have done that, like starting from 10 to go to 1. I don't know, could have done that. All right, next one. Tailor your content to your target audience. So last week, and if you missed last week's session, you can search for World Via Travel Network in YouTube, and you'll see a whole section on just the marketeering sessions. So you can check this out. But I was talking about customer segmenting, and that's breaking up your customer database into segments so you can craft messages unique to them, or specific that speaks specific to their needs and what you know they want to hear, what they would respond to. So if you have a email list of 3, segmenting is not something where I would put my effort. I think that would be a lot of energy and effort that you could put to creating more messages in general, because your list is quite small. You know the individuals, but you need to grow that list a little bit before I would start worrying about breaking it up into different segments. But if you've got a list of 20, that's the point where I might start. I would definitely start to create my buckets that my business needs or would warrant. I've got this type of client, I've got that type of client, and I've got the other type of client. I think three buckets is a great place to start. Then they're broad buckets, right? They're not so specific, like couples with three kids, and then I've got couples with one kid. That might be important in some businesses, but for most, that's getting too narrow. But your broad buckets, your broad themes. So and around 20 is, I think, a good place where I wouldn't spend a ton of time. Most of the time, you can take one message. Like you have a promotion with um, Royal Caribbean, and you have 20 clients. Maybe the bulk of your clients are uh, uh, let's say let's go for more on the demographic side. Maybe a large part of your list are the Gen Xers, the Gen Zs, the not baby boomer group. Okay, so the not baby boomer group. So you are going to use different it's the same promotion, but you might choose some images that are speaking to a younger demographic. And you're highlighting maybe the intense activities that you can do. But then on maybe a smaller part of your list are boomers. I mean, this is the basic segmentation is at the demographic level, but the boomers, then let's show boomers. Let's show boomers. And, if you know your audience, which I would hope you do, uh, show the things that you hear in conversations or via email back and forth. Show the things that you can do on Royal Caribbean that is perfect for them. And so that's a way that you're taking one message and just kind of making sure that you tailor it to your audience. There's loads of different situations, and it does depend on the size of your list. So, like I said, it would be less concerned about you tailoring your broadcast messages, so your the emails that you're sending out to large groups, um, because when you've got a smaller list, because you can do that with more of your one-to-one messaging. And the one-to-one emails, different for broadcast, is exactly it does what it says on the tin. It's you sending a message to my Aunt Debbie and saying, "Hey Debbie, I know that you and Jimmy have something coming up, or you guys want to take a break. This is a great option for you." That's the one email, and it is very, very custom and tailored to my Aunt Debbie. Also, another item on my list of why email marketing is important is keep your customers informed. There is keeping them informed about, oh, sorry, my light automatically goes out. So keep them informed of what's going on in your business, what you've got coming up in terms of not necessarily promotions, but maybe events that you have going on. Maybe they're online. You're doing some virtual events, or maybe you're actually gonna host a cruise night in the local Italian restaurant. And you're doing, or no, you're doing a not a cruise night. You're doing an Italian tours evening. Oh man, I'm all about this, and I might be a little bit hungry too, so I don't know. But you're partnering with an Italian restaurant that maybe they're going to sponsor it, and you bring in someone like Colette, and because those reps, they do like, if you can bring the audience, they do like to do things like this. But anyway, I that's a whole other conversation, right? Holding events. But if you've got things like that on the calendar, then that's the way to keep, that's another item to keep your clients informed. So there's that. there's upcoming promotions, maybe there's group space that you have. Um, it's keeping them informed, but also just making sure that they know that your doors are still open. And I say that because during the incident, that's what the Icelandic people that's the term that they coined for the pandemic. And I like it. I heard it from Jason over at Royal Caribbean, and I just keep using it. But during the incident, we all know, unfortunately, many businesses closed, but many businesses did not. And the people that seem to bounce back the fastest, at least from the network of advisors that I'm connected to, the people that stayed there and present, maybe they weren't hawking their wares. Maybe they weren't selling, hey, I need you to book, or I want you to book, or you need to book, or this is whatever. You weren't talking about that. You were just saying, hey, guys, I'm still here and I'm still thinking about uh, my wine river cruise experience that's going to be coming up, or whatever, just kind of talking about travel and making sure that their clients know that they're still here. So those are the ones that I saw bounce back the fastest. And I saw, believe me, and I saw many people, and it was very hard to see or hard to watch. I saw many people uh, not take that cue and or not make that a part of their everyday or their marketing planning. Is making those communications go out, because they were just waiting. They were waiting for ships to get it back in the water. They were waiting to where they felt it would be received well, that they were communicating. And those, unfortunately, it took a lot longer for them to bounce back. And many of them did tell me. So I'm not just a silent observer in any situation, but many people told me, I wish I had been sending out emails. They might have been a different type of message than they're sending now, but I wish I had, because the first time I did, people said, "Oh, I didn't know that you were still in business." Oh, oh, yeah, that's gonna kill it. So anyway, but that's in the past. But history repeats itself. So learn from that, and just don't go dormant. And you know what, it's so easy to craft an email and to schedule it to go out. You could plot all of your emails that you want to send within a month. You could plot those on one Sunday, maybe take a 4-hour block of time, and if your business is important enough to you, you will block out that type of time to when you have it, when maybe you don't have client conversations going on, you'll block out that time, because then you can set it, forget it, and then just wait for the leads to flow in, or the inquiries to flow in. So wow, there's another super tangent, and I like that Carrie Ann said that was a super tangent. Whatever I went on at one point was a super tangent. And Carrie Ann, thanks for calling me out on that. Super tangents. It's something I'm known for. That's why I have to keep a list. I have to keep a list, or we won't get to everything. And Amy, I'm glad that you got inspired. She said, "Love the Italian tours night idea. Bellissimo." You know what? I wish it were my idea. But the one thing about me, you will learn, is I'm constantly picking up ideas from other people, and I just store them up in here, and then they flow out. They flow out in blogs, or flow out in videos like this, sessions like this. So anyway, All right, back to this. So improve your brand recognition, brand awareness. If you are, especially with your list of future clients, okay, your existing clients, they know you. They're not going to forget about you because you put together a honeymoon for them. You put together a wedding for them. You put together a event for them. You put together a group for them. I mean, they're not your existing clients are not going to forget you. But for your future clients, you need to get them into your brand. And if you're a solopreneur, that brand is you. So you need to get them in to your brand. And then if they're in your brand, then they're more likely to buy from you. So by sending out email, you are increasing your brand recognition because if they click on that email, then you are showing them who you are and who your business is. Um, and that's going to come into play in just a little bit. But you want them to be inside your brand. So then, maybe you've gotten them on your social media or to follow you on social media. When they start to see the messages from you, then they're like, oh, yeah, she sends me emails. I need to go look because there was something about Lisbon and I want to go to Lisbon. So, uh, okay, yes, I'm connecting the dots. Maybe you use photos of yourself. Mm, I'm just saying, if they're working with you, maybe they should see you. I'm just, that might be a tactic, right? Or it could be your brand colors. I mean, we brand is a whole other topic, but when you invade their inbox, they make that choice to click. When they make that choice to click, then they're yours. So let your colors fly. Okay. So I gotta keep on my list. And Carrie Ann said, I actually meant super as in fantastic. It was a great analogy. Thank you, Carrie Ann. Thank you for encouraging me. All right. Uh, big essential or reason why email is essential. Drives traffic to your website. How many of you have your website? Maybe you're not doing paid advertising on Google or Facebook or Instagram. Maybe that's not in your budget and it's not even in your strategy, right? So maybe you've got more of an organic play. And when I say organic play, it means that you've created content within your site about what you do, and Google has crawled it. Think of it like little spiders, has crawled it and taken all the keyword phrases that are appropriate, and it sends a little bit of traffic. Well, every time you send an email, that's an opportunity to get them to your website. I mentioned before, if you've got a message in your email, um, get them to click a link and send them to a landing page on your website about what you're talking about. And that could be a promotion, that could be an event, that could be more details about a service that you offer. But use your email to compel them to take action with a CTA, a call to action, get them to take action and get them to your website. And that could even be to schedule a consultation, right? So for your future clients, it could be, here's a link to my calendar, my consultation scheduler, and that's the call to action. But the actual calendar scheduler is embedded in your website. Get people on your website, because how many times do you go to a website? We're not even talking about email marketing. You go to a website and you didn't know what was going to be there. you got whatever information you needed, and then you see, oh, there's a special group that she does every quarter or something like that. I'm just randomly coming up with what your website might look like. Oh, uh, there's a bunch of photos of her one of her clients' wedding and a destination wedding. And I'm gonna go look over there. So get them to your website and then take care of merchandising your website so you can do something with them. Uh, of course, improve sales. If you are showcasing your experience, if you're showcasing what you do, if you're showcasing what they can get from you, then you're going to improve your sales. It's going to increase your sales. And I know that for a fact. So if you don't think that email marketing will improve your sales, then I want to have a separate conversation with you because it if you are regularly communicating with your clients, you will see improved sales. I don't know if you guys can see. So talk about squirrel. I see a squirrel right in where is it? Let's see. Let's see if I can get oh no, he just disappeared. Anyway, isn't that like what a dog does? Squirrel. And I just did it. Sorry. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. I thought something, I'm in the office by myself. So if anybody like was going to come and get me, this could be the opportunity. Uh, anyway, communicating with your customers on a regular basis is going to improve sales. Now, if you are sending emails and they're not increasing sales, then you can look at what you're sending to them, and there are ways to enhance that. But if you don't send them, then you can just be like, I don't have sales. And I'd say, are you doing email marketing? And you'd say, no. And I'm like, well, let's start there. Right. Okay. It looks like I've got some questions. Jeet said agreed. Okay, hold on one second. All right. So Carrie Ann, you've got a good question here. She said, where do you feel is the happy place between often enough to keep your business front of mind and too many emails from this business? I'm glad that you asked this question, Carrie Ann. And I was going to address it a little bit later, but let's unpack or let's break that down. Uh, so what the I get this so many times. When should I send emails? How often should I send emails? All different variations of those questions. So let's talk about it. So best time to send email now. It's that whole when is the best time to plant a tree yesterday? Like if you are not sending emails, then send one today. Send one this morning. All right. Until you start sending emails, you don't know what the best day is. And there is no magical answer on sending emails. And if you search on the Google, and I say that tongue in cheek there, if you search in Google and you are looking for, what is the best time of day, you're going to see loads of different answers. A lot of those answers are going to be based on B2B emails, so business to business emails. You don't get, at least last time I did it, you don't get a lot of information on B2C emails. So here's a little tip that I'm going to give you. Remember I was talking about Sephora? Think about the brands that that have emails that you receive. They don't have to be in travel because that's not the deal here. But consumer brands and companies who serve the broader public, Target, Walmart, Sephora, Man, why am I drawing a blank on things? But there's so many emails that I get that I just can't even think. So look at those big companies because they have teams of people focused on emails, and look at what time they're sending those emails. Some of them are global companies, some of them are national or regional companies, but it's the ones that you hear from a lot. Okay, so they've got to be a well-known brand. Um, and look at those emails and when they're coming into your inbox. You will find, at least I have, that they are coming in at all sorts of times. I see some that come in at 6 a.m. I see some come in at midnight. I mean, they're all over the place. But if there is a brand that you follow, and in particular, if there is a brand that services your clients, you know that most of your clients shop with Target, right? Look at what they're doing. What time are they saying? If you if or what time are they sending emails? If you were to look in your inbox and say, I want to see all the emails from Target between from June 1st to June 30th, then I would just take down a piece of paper and say, okay, they send an email every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. On Saturday, they send it at 9 a.m. But the other ones they send in the afternoons. And then jot that down, and maybe that's your schedule. But until you start to send emails, maybe you follow that advice. But again, I say just send it, let it fly. Because me personally, I don't look at my personal email until the weekends. I'm not that tied into my personal email. My work email, I'm always in, but my personal email, I rarely in. So you could have sent that email on Monday, and I don't even look at it until Sunday morning. So when you're dealing with consumers, and especially with those personal purchases, and things like travel are not things that it's not just buying a lip balm. It's a bigger commitment. I need some time to process it, unless there's a strong sense of urgency, meaning to take advantage of this special offer, we need to book it by X date. That's going to get me to pull the trigger a little bit faster. But when you start sending emails, then you can look at, when people are opening them, if they're clicking on them, when that's happening. So that's data that can inform when you're going to send emails. Now, getting back to Carrie Ann's question, she's like, what's the formula? What's the happy place? And I would recommend that if you're not doing email now, once a month, at least once a month. If you are doing email now, I would see how you could increase that to bi-weekly. Depends on your agency, your business, and what you do. But the I would say that it's pretty much, again, I don't know yeah, everybody's background who's watching right now, but I would say a good rule where I would feel like we could dig into your email marketing and say, let's look at what's working, what's not working, and let's see where we can tweak your system. Once a week would be ideal for most agencies. Now, the type of message you send, you might mix it up. So maybe the first week of the month, you always do whatever promotions that you might have, or a promotion that you're focused on. The second week might be inspirational. So you're sharing a blog that you've crafted, or you're sharing personal photos of different trips, which that is a great tip. When you go on a trip, or if you have a ton of photos on your phone, get them organized into folders on your phone, by destination and by year. You can put the year in there. But just because you're not traveling right now doesn't mean you don't have photos from when you were traveling 3 years ago. to a specific destination that you want to sell more of, or you want to start selling. So definitely that's a great project to do, especially on the holidays when everybody's watching a football game and you're like, I'm not into football. I am going to go into my phone, and instead of playing a video game, I'm going to organize my photos into folders. I'm just saying, I I may be talking from experience here. But the share, one week you share that inspirational travel. Maybe the next week is a week that you remind people about different specific parts of what you do, the different aspects of your services. And maybe you highlight maybe the last week of the month, you highlight a a uh, a traveler facing brands packages. So you lean on them for content, the supplier for content, but it's somebody like an Abercrombie and Kent, Alma Waterways. It's somebody like that who is creating that kind of content, that maybe they've got great videos or they've got a downloadable brochure about something. So I just basically gave you a marketing calendar that you can use, and you can just fill in the blanks with it. But if you could do once a week, I think that's great. Uh, that that would be enough touch points that or opportunities for engagement that you're definitely front of mind because you're always showing up. Um, but that I don't think anybody would accuse you of it being too much. Now, if you think about what I just said, I was curating, I was being the editor of my magazine, and I was saying that I wasn't going to say the same thing, or the theme wasn't going to be the same in every email. Like save $200 if you book now. That's if I saw that every week, that would make me go, ugh, no, I can't with that. So Carrie Ann, that's my advice. Monthly, if you're not doing it monthly, bi-weekly, if if you're already doing it monthly. Bi-weekly, I think would be great, but ideally, I would say once a week is the right space. And then when you get there, then you look at the analytics from the reporting from your email performance, and you see, are people open, is my open rate, the number of people I send it to, and the compared to the number of people that open. If my open rate is staying the same, then you're doing well. If you start to see the open rate decline, it's a couple of different contributing factors there. It could be that your subject line is not good. I mean, there's ways to diagnose that, but if you start to see that wobble a little bit, then I'd start to pull back on my frequency. But until you get to a nice steady frequency, I would just keep going, and then start to evaluate the performance. So I hope that helps, Carrie Ann. And Cholwasa, is there any secret way that you can attract the new customer by email? So, wow, is there a secret? There isn't a secret, but I can give you some practical advice, some best practices. And that would be to ensure that you are communicating, you are speaking to your audience. You're not throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall to see what will stick. You're not confusing them with different messages. If you, on your website, you say, sign up to receive regular emails from me, filled with uh, great destination information, deals and promotions, And the latest and greatest in our events. I'm riffing here. If that was what you promised on the email sign up, then make sure that you are delivering that in your emails. And I don't know if you're an agency of one or if you're a multi-agent agency, but you'll hear me say over and over again, if you are a solopreneur and you are the business, then the way you speak to me as a future client should be exactly the way you would speak to me if we were working together. So if you are if you are so passionate about the destinations that you sell, then infuse that passion into those emails and address them, personalize them, which all email service providers will have the customization tools to where you can take the first name and plug that in, and then make sure you sign off on it. If you're going to say dear so and so in the email, then at the bottom you better say see you real soon and sign it off, or have some kind of closing. A lot of times people will put dear this and then a dear person's name, and then it just ends. The email ends. Well, that's not a letter. You made it feel like it was a letter at the start, and then you pulled back. So my advice to you is to bring your brand, whether it's your agency and its personality, or you are the solopreneur and you are the business. Bring yourself into the email and don't be bashful about it, like, or don't be ashamed of it. Because at the end of the day, if they do choose to work with you, they're choosing to work with you, and that your style, your brand is what they're going to get. So just like you want to deliver on what you promised when they sign up for the email, you want to make sure that you are delivering on the how they've experienced your brand. Their experience with you is the same as what they've been experiencing through your email marketing. So I you're now making me think that, because there's some great emails that I have seen. So I'm taking a note here. Take a letter, Maria, address it to my wife. I am going to hey, listen, join if you haven't joined yet. We have a private Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search Travel Marketeers, because you're a marketeer. We just got it started, so it's a small, intimate group. But our team is going to be sharing tools, toolkits, things like that, templates there. And I'd like to pull together just a few really good sales emails to solicit that first interaction. So a little bit different from your broadcast emails, but you can infuse some of the same things in there. So sorry, let me make sure, because if I don't take this note, I won't remember sales emails. But join the group, because that's where we'll share things like that. All right. So thank you for your question. And let's see here. Okay. I got to get through my list here. I keep getting distracted there. You can also conduct surveys, right, with email marketing. Get to know your clients. Create surveys. I wouldn't get crazy with it. I would not be sending surveys every quarter, maybe every 6 months. And depending on what you're trying to extract, make them fun. Don't make them too long. Don't make them arduous. Uh, yes, no, rate this. Those are great questions to ask in the survey, and start to get to know your clients a little bit more, and especially not just your clients, but your database, your audience, because people are signing up to your email list. You might not necessarily know them, you might not ever interact with them, but if they do answer, if you put together a survey that helps you get to know them a little bit better, that's a great way for you to start, or identify, is that really somebody who is my target? If it is, then take some of those, make sure they're getting that type of information. If you're finding out that the majority of your database is interested in Africa, just saying, well, let's not start talking about Europe all of a sudden. If the survey says, it's really great to get feedback from your database. It's great to get feedback from your customers, but from your database will help you inform yourself. What does my database look like? Who are they? And then it will also help you craft better messages for them. um, and I talk about cost-effective marketing campaigns. Uh, for you to do direct mail, a campaign, several touch points campaign, that'd be really expensive. For you to do a campaign around a promotion or group selling that you're doing, or an event that you're doing, by email, again, time, energy, that's what you're spending. And if you if you're efficient with your time and you don't overthink what you're putting together, you can shoot those campaigns out with very little time and energy. And you can also finally, you can reach many devices. Um, we're on our phones, we're on our iPads, we're on our desktops. We're in different devices. So email marketing reaches all of those, right? Because a lot of people are checking in on their email via their phone. Some people just do email on their phone. Some people are never on their desktop, right? But there's loads of different scenarios. If you are a business that you work directly with businesses, then you aren't necessarily worried about somebody getting the email on the phone. You're going to reach them on their desktop because that's probably or their laptop, because that's where they're checking their email and stuff. So with emailing, it reaches every device. So I think that's maybe doesn't seem as important, but think about how you check your email, and think about which devices you use. And me personally, I sometimes am checking email on phone, and then I flag it, and then I look at it on my desktop, right? So it goes with you. All in all, email is super important, a great way for you to reach many people. And let's get into building some emails, okay? Uh, let's see here. Just seeing here. Carrie Ann said, "Thank you, Joshua. Future webinar topics: business hacks for travel advisors with ADHD." Okay. And how to do stuff when you are crippled by perfectionism. Wow. Those are great. I can tell that you are a marketeer because you have created some good titles there. And Chilwasa said that she will join the group. And anonymous attendee said, "Thank you for the presentation." And Amy said, "This is great. This is exactly where we're going to go. Can you elaborate on tools we can use to monitor email performance?" Yes, I can. So, Amy, they're called ESPs in the marketing speak, email service providers. Those are the tools that you use to deploy your broadcast emails. And broadcast emails not being the one-to-one emails, but the sending out mass emails. And those tools are really important, because if your list gets to a certain size, you can't just drop everybody in the BCC line of your email and send it out of your email provider. These email service providers that do the broadcast emails, they're able to deploy, and they stay up on top of all the different policies and technology to ensure email deliverability. So all of those tools will have some component to help you analyze the performance of your emails. So let me just talk about the tools first. So different options. So our in Worldvia Network, if you are in the network, you have access to our Email Plus tool, and that everyone has access to. So that's an enterprise level email service provider, email marketing platform that does everything from soup to nuts, right? So that's a tool. It also does the reporting. So obviously, to anyone on the call who's a member of our network, Email Plus is your go-to tool. There's I can guarantee you there's not a better email, a broadcast email product. If you are not a member, then my go-to is MailChimp. It's affordable, it is effective, and just it's got a lot of the tools that any business would need to execute email. Now there's a free version up to I think a certain number, and also you have limited capabilities with the free plan, but at least you can get in and test it out and see if you like it. But that tool also has reporting tools. It's every single email marketing platform will have the reporting tools. So those are obviously Email Plus. We manage that. So I'm very, very proud of that. But if you are not in our network, then MailChimp is phenomenal. There's others like Constant Contact, and different CRMs have email platforms built in. They'll all have reporting options for you to see, if your emails are performing well. But the the uh, the one that just hands down, I think, is is the best platform, and I've used it for, I guess it's probably been 2 decades. I feel like I've used it since they started. It's MailChimp. So that's to me the tool. But I will show you, Amy, the let's see here. Hold on a second. I was going to wait to do this, but we're going to do this right now. All right, I'm just going to show you. This is something I pulled uh, from the web here. And hopefully you can see it okay. So this is, oh, I'm just kind of like floating there, aren't I? I'm a floating body. So this is an example of reporting from an email after it's been sent. So in this particular platform, it's looking at kind of email. It scores emails based on other accounts. So it's community. I'm not as worried about that. The things that you're going to see on every dashboard are going to be your opens. So that's the percentage of opens of people who opened the email versus how many were sent. How many clicked? That is your click-through rate. So out of the 2,200 who opened this email, 11% of them clicked through. It had 100% delivery rate. So this particular email went out to 15,000 people. There were a few that bounced, but good deliverability. Opt-outs, they had 31 people opt out. Opt-outs are not bad because you don't want people in your list who don't want to receive messages from you. If they opt out, bless and release them. But then that means that all of these scores start to get a little better over time. So the open rates, if you start to get the people who don't want to get your emails out of there, your open and your click rates percentage should go up. And then look at this. Look at the shares. 8 were shared. That it's not very common for people to share emails these days, but if you do get them, then that is a win. So love that. And then here you see, and if I could scroll, I just grabbed this shot as an example. But here you'll see where a heat map. So it's showing out of the different links on the email where they clicked. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but I'm looking down at these green bubbles there. So the you can see the bigger one is for on this just this section of the email. The bigger bubble is over women's. So in this email, it would indicate to me that the majority of people were interested in what the women's offerings were. But again, this is just a screenshot, so it doesn't have the full email. There could be other calls to action down below. But this is how you'd be looking at, you'd be breaking down an email to look at the performance of it. And here at the very top, you see a navigation where it has overview. So we're looking at the overview now. You could look at most email service providers will have the ability to look at who in the database opened the email, who clicked, who shared, who were the new email signups, who were the people that opted out. All really good information and helps you kind of hone that profile. All right. So that's the reporting. You're going to see this across all platforms. If your subject line is good and or if they want to hear from you and the subject line is good, then your open rate is going to reflect that. Once they open it, if your email was relevant and it had enough calls to action, and I try to keep it focused to one. What is the one thing I want them to do? And I have just different calls to action throughout the email. If they click the email, then man, I landed it. That was fantastic. That means that I got them with the subject line, and I delivered on the promise from the subject line with what I put into the email. And they clicked through, and ultimately I could follow them if there was something I specifically wanted them to do, like scheduling an appointment with me, a consultation appointment with me. I could see how many of those people who clicked actually scheduled an appointment with me. Don't get into analysis paralysis where the data is preventing you from deploying emails. You deploy the emails because many of you are just getting your email marketing system going. So you don't know what good is yet. You're going to try a few things before you can start to really analyze it. But don't let the analysis prevent you from doing. Okay. Please, 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 please. So I want to show you something to just think about email design. Okay. So you have, what do they say? It's the 8-second rule. The human brain kind of processes what a message is within 8 seconds. And I say that about a website. If I can't understand what you do, when I first get to your website, I don't need to read anything. I just need to see everything together, the visuals. If it doesn't signal what you're trying to get me to understand, then it's time to reboot, because the way you've laid out your information, it's not necessarily the quality of your graphics or your photos. It's not about being over designed, but it's about crafting your layout to where it's and the images and the colors and the headlines and things like that to instantly convey the message to make me want to read or take action. Okay. And this is where we get into a lot of being very objective about your work and the way you've laid things out, and also then looking at how your emails performed. So I want to show you a graphic that I pulled from HubSpot. They do a lot of they are known for inbound marketing, so attracting people in just through your content. But I love that they created this graphic about tried and tested orientation models. So this works with email, this works with landing pages, this works with your website. Uh, this is not just HubSpot that has that this is a design principle. But I look at this and this was the best way I could convey how can you, if you're not a designer, how can you become a designer fast? And I'm showing you these. So we've got the three tried and tested orientation models that work. So when you're laying out, so first of all, think about what you are wanting to say with your email. Content always comes first. The story always comes first. So always write down on a piece of paper, pull up a Word doc real quick, just dump everything out of your brain. What is it that you're trying to say? What are you trying to get them to do? Whether it's to sign up for an event, whether it's to take advantage of a promotion or learn more about a promotion, or just read my newsletter, right? These are the different layouts and the ways that you can orientate your email to be more effective. And it's based on the way the human brain processes information. So I don't know. It's a different approach to just saying, oh, this works or that works. Um, so the inverted pyramid, you see, it says this is from Postable. So you see that their logo is at the top. It's taking up that it's heavier. It's weighted a little heavier, and then everything is bringing it down to the I can't even read what that says. Send cards or something. Um, uh, so it's pulling me down in this inverted pyramid down to the button to take action. So my brain is processing it as a pyramid. The layout is in a pyramid style. The Z, the zigzag, oftentimes we are scanning to the right. So the first thing we see is that in the upper left, we see that message, image, whatever that is. Then our eyes shift over to that number two over on the right. And then it comes back down to the bottom left and then goes over to the bottom right. So if this is how people are processing information, then I'm going to put my grab in that upper left. Then my secondary grab to the right. And then I'm going to third and then fourth, kind of in order of importance. Or that's where I put specific calls to action. Maybe one is an image over in the upper left, and then to the right is I have a call to action. But then I also tell a little bit of a story down in the bottom left, and then on the bottom right, I've got another call to action. And now that you know these patterns, you're probably going to see them used, and again, those emails that you receive. The other one is the F pattern. And this F pattern is one that I like to talk about when you're building landing pages, but it also is very, very beneficial when laying out your content in an email, especially a longer email like a newsletter. So again, my eye is going to go from left to right. I'm going to consume that information. So that top level, I'm going to probably read the whole bit. Fewer people are going to go down to that bottom, the second tier there. And then even fewer people are going to scroll and do the next level down and then the next level down, and then we get down to the very bottom, and even fewer people are going to get down to the very bottom. So with that in mind, especially in crafting your newsletters, make sure the important stuff, the most important stuff is at the top, and then work your way down. It doesn't mean don't put that information in, don't like abandon it, but just realize that the majority of the people are going to open that email and they might not scroll. They might, and same with the landing page. They might get to the landing page, but they might not scroll down. So just keep this in mind. So just when you're laying out your emails, kind of what shape are you creating today? Okay, so the inverted pyramid, zigzag, and F pattern. And it looks like my emails are, or my samples that I had here, were not. I thought they were going to be ready for me to share. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to give you a sample of doing a plain text email. I know you're like, wait a minute, you were talking about design. Where are you going to start with a plain text email? Well, I'm going to start with a plain text email because believe it or not, there are a lot of people, a lot of high volume sellers that don't put a photo. They don't design anything in their email, but they're still sending broadcast emails. So they're not just like cutting and pasting and doing one-to-one emails. They're still doing broadcast emails. And remember what I said, start with your story. What is the story that you're trying to tell? So um, start with the story. And the best way I could illustrate that is start with a plain text email. They work. If you can't, if you're not a designer, you just don't have it in you. You don't want to play. And believe me, I love it when people just want to play. If you don't want to play, send a plain text email. It still has in any email marketing platform that you're using, they're going to have the information for someone to manage their subscription, for them to opt out. That is being the Spam Compliance Act. That's being compliant to have this information at the bottom. So that's a great thing about these email marketing platforms is they're staying on top of things and making it easy for people to manage their subscription, whether it's to sign up or to opt out. So this information by default, and again, any platform is going to have some version of this kind of drag and drop tool. So over on the right-hand side, you'll see all the different content blocks I can put in, and I can drag them in if I want to. Now I can put a photo here. If I had a photo, I could put a photo if I wanted. Well, let's go ahead and do that. We'll do that. So I got a photo here. Over on the right-hand side, you can see that I could like there's some different formatting I can do. I can change the size of this image. Whenever you have an image in an email, you're always going to have an option somewhere to do the alt text. Alt text is if you've ever received an email where they've blocked the images and until you say, oh, this is a safe sender, then this is the information that's going to show. It's also going to show for those who are visually impaired when they're using a reader and their computer is reading it. The worst experience for them is when it's a file name and that computer is reading file 16964575532.png. That is an awful experience. So in this case, my image is my logo. So I'm just going to say World Via because that's exactly the text that's on the image. So any graphic that you have that has an image, I just write what sorry, any graphic you have that has text. Sorry, I just write the text because that's what they're, especially someone who's visually impaired, they're missing out on that. But if it were a picture of two ladies on the beach, sitting on the beach playing in the sand, then that's what I would write here because that is what the image is. So it's very important to include that. Not only will it for if you have anyone who's visually impaired reading getting these emails, and having the computer read it to them. But also in those instances, and I'm sure you've experienced it, where your email provider, the Gmail or Outlook, whatever you're using, has truncated the information. You can't see the images. When you see gross file names, that's not great. So a lot of people are going to see this, not just the visually impaired who are having the computer read it. So alt text, pretty important. But in this email, I am going to get rid of my content block that was about images, but maybe I wanted a button. I could also put a button here, and I could put a link to my website in this URL space. I can change the color of that button. I really like red. Okay, there we go. And even if I'm doing a plain text email, I might want to put a button there. But the moment you start adding graphics to a plain text email, it stops being a plain text email. But again, play. You've got loads of things, and every single one of the email providers that you might use is going to have something like this, the actual content piece, or the content blocks. But let's go in here and let's write an email. So I'm going to just write, hey friends, uh, I hope this new year brings loads of, loads of happiness and prosperity to you and yours. Uh, I look forward to helping you with your next adventure. Uh, let's talk soon. And I'm going to send it Joshua. And then I'll have, Joshua's travel, I'll have some type of signature here. Now, this is a really basic one, but you can do fairly long ones. Get a few paragraphs in there. Now, I'm going to show you something that might blow your mind. It might be a complete game changer here. Now, the members of our network have access to our content generator, which is an AI content generator. So you plug in prompts and it just shoots out content that then you can use as is, or you can kind of tweak. Um, so that to me is a great, I love it because it helps spark an idea. And oftentimes it helps me tell a more comprehensive story than if I were to just draft it on my own, because from an AI perspective, it's constantly learning and and making sure there's a beginning, middle, and end. Now, I'm not going to show you that tool because I want to make sure that everyone, even if you're not a member of World Being Network, you have access to access to other tools. And one that I love, and I use it for the purpose of just becoming a better writer. I use Grammarly. So I want to show you they've got something very similar to our content generator. But again, this is a paid for tool, and our tool comes with our membership. But you hit this generative AI and you say, write a customer email to encourage them to contact me about um, a family vacation to England. Okay. Now, I've not done this before. I mean, I've used this tool before, but I have not done this before. Let's see what happens. Oh, well, that's great. See, you can tell I'm doing this live because it just said the tool is not available. Oh, you are kidding me. Oh, that's not even funny. Let's see. Let me just refresh. Let's see if I should have copied that um, before okay, let's try it again. Write an email to my clients to encourage them to contact me about putting to oops putting together, let's just say, about planning a family trip to England. All right, let's see what happens. Oh man. Okay, well, it's not gonna happen. But I didn't plan for that. But the what would happen is it would generate a pretty good email. I've seen it work really, really well. And then you can insert it into the normal Grammarly, and then you can edit it. Make sure it's in your language and it's using the words that you would use. And maybe there's things that you would elaborate on. Maybe there's some things that you would cut back, but it would give you a great framework to work from. And I guarantee you that you will experience that it has a little more writing style than maybe you would have had. It's a great conversation starter or writing starter, composition starter. So that is an option if you're not a writer, and I don't think Grammarly is too expensive. So if you don't have access to an AI content generator, then the Grammarly one is really good. But it's a great way to use it, whether it's a plain text email or we are building something that has images and that has colors and things like that. So let me show you real quick. Um, so that was a plain text email. Let's look at an event email. So here, I I've got an event that's happening. You can see I've got a nice headline. I've got a subhead here, and then I've got the body of my email. Again, I can use a picture block and grab my company logo, and I wanted to put the alt text in there. I've got a button here that I can have a link to whatever the call to action is. And down below, put a picture of me. Of course, my agency name, how to contact me, and my socials. But this gets down to it. It's using this is Onstage Alaska, so this is with Holland America. They have, if you're doing an Onstage Alaska, they've got a lot of assets already ready for you. But if I was just doing something on my own about Alaska, I can find pictures of Alaska, or maybe I have some of my own that I can drop in and just make sure that they're of a small, they're not high res, make them web resolution so they'll load quickly. But this, when I open this email, and before I would send this, I would definitely do a preview, and I'd look to see, is this the design that I want? And when I look at this, I might change where this is gray behind World Via and it's gray around my agent information. I might make that white so I could go back and edit that. But when this email opens up, it gets down to the heart of the information. March 6th at 3 p.m., there's something with Alaska. Let me read more. So I feel pretty good about that. So let's see here. Let me get, oh, and then I can also look at it on mobile. Does it look nice on mobile? Well, the way I would critique this is, if you notice, the image that I'm using here is a little bit small. Now, I do like the fact that if somebody opened this email on a phone, they see we love Alaska. I mean, that's very clear. And then we get down to the event information. So I do like that, but I'd say that the text on this graphic or this photo a little bit small. I might see if I could find an asset that has maybe We Love Alaska a little bit bigger, because when it changes from desktop to mobile, it leaves a little to be desired. It leaves it's not doing it for me. But those tweaks I can make. But if you notice, if this email were to open up in your email box, you're pretty much seeing everything you need to see right when the email opens up. And that's a strong event email, is making sure you get right to what day is it? What time is it? Why do I care? And then how do I take action? This looks pretty good to me. All right, let me show you a promo example. Now, just disclaimer, this is a promo that that is not valid anymore. But this is one with for Seaborn. So I've got a place up at the top for my logo. I've got the information that they have crafted, which all of your great suppliers have email assets that you can use because they want to help you sell. Now, in terms of a promotional email, if I were creating this, this is a bit long. However, for a discerning Seaborn client, um, for them to get the whole story in one email, um, I think that's a pretty good idea. But if you notice here, I've taken their promotional information, made that again, the top information that they're going to see. And then I get down, so this is one whole block of their information. So that's from their media site, from their promotional or their marketing kit center. And then I scroll down and now I've got buttons that I've added, or I can take away if I wanted to. I can um, I can add that back pretty fast if I want to, and craft that. And then I've got my agency information down at the bottom. But at the very top, you know it's me because I put my logo up at the top, and then I got right into a Sail Beyond event with Seaborn. So what a great image. I picture myself there. I want to be there. Great promotional email, but very, very easy to build, especially because so many of our partners create those assets for us. Um, and now, finally, I want to show you a newsletter sample. So if you have not been doing newsletters and you're like, what am I going to talk about? When I think of a newsletter, I think of a newspaper. Well, write a story, write a blog. If you are writing for your blog, then use a blog. And that's exactly what we did here. Put your logo here, have the title of your article, because if you're writing a blog article, you're using the same principles to try to attract people's attention. You're getting to the point. 6 understated yet fascinating attractions in America. Now, this would be an example of that inspirational messaging that I was talking about earlier. So I'm not promoting something specific, but I'm making sure that I am signaling that I am all about travel. I am Joshua's travel agency and I'm all about travel. And you know what? I love traveling in America and I can help you do America in a phenomenal way. So giving this type of information shows that you're an expert. So this is a nice sized blog. I hope this is also on my website because if I'm going to do something, an amazing story like this, I should also get some benefit from it for a long term with it being on my website. But I've got actually, since this is Joshua's agency, I can change that to contact me. Contact me today. So we can start planning. I don't know. You can play with different calls to action, but because I was just calling this Joshua's agency, then I want to make sure it's not like contact the corporation. Contact me. Contact Joshua if you don't know me. I've even put down a little section here for maybe I want to add a promotion, or maybe I want to share some personal photos. But that's an easy way, even if I don't do this second part where I'm putting promotions in or anything else, even just doing a blog once a month and putting it in my email. It's been fantastic. And then if someone scrolls all the way down, maybe the call to action isn't contact me, but it's if you like this article, I've got loads more on my website. Get them to your website. Okay. So yeah, those were a couple of examples and just showing you and like I said, every single email marketing platform that is worth anything that you would find all has that type of drag and drop. If I want a photo, if I want to put a video in, just drag and drop. But think about the ways to lay out the information, the inverted pyramid, the zigzag, the F. So knowing that someone's going to read everything on the top line, few are going to read the next line. Fewer, even fewer, are going to read further down to get down to basically nothing. So think about that when you're laying out your emails, and start, if you, like I said, if you can't, if you're not ready to play with drag and drop editors, and you're not ready to put images in, or go to a supplier's website to get information, or you get the assets that they've created, don't worry about sending a plain text email as a broadcast email. Sending the email is more important. It's the first level of importance before you get into the design of the email. Because if you're not sending emails today, you're missing out. So those plain text emails are just fine. Just get started. Get started and see what resonates with your audience, and what does, amp that up, do more of it. So we've talked about a lot today. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and trying to get more informed with email marketing and get started. I hope this gives you the confidence to get into your, maybe you already have an email marketing platform, just get into it and start playing around and send your first email. If you don't have an email marketing platform, then search for one. Again, MailChimp, I would recommend that. If you are not a member of our network, I would definitely highly point you in that. I highly urge you to go in that direction. But go get started, and then put on your website a way for people to subscribe to your emails. That's if you do anything this weekend, if you don't have an email marketing platform, go get one. And so you can start collecting email addresses, so you can start your email marketing system. If you do have one, send an email this weekend. Send a very simple email. Put a picture in, put some copy in, the words that the text that you put into the email, the copy, that the words that sell. That's what copy is. Send an email and get started. If you are already sending emails, think about what we talked about, and think about how you could apply that to your current system, how your emails are laid out. Again, use the layouts, the orientations that have been tried and tested. Look at the types of content that you're sending out, and look at the frequency. Are you sending emails monthly? If you're sending a monthly, if you're not sending monthly, send them monthly. If you are sending them monthly, send them biweekly. If you are sending them biweekly, see if you can send them weekly. Just make sure you're taking full advantage of email marketing. It is so cost effective, and it is, the return on investment will be big. You just need to make sure it is a part of your marketing system. So with that, I'm going to sign off for this weekend. I hope you have a lovely weekend. If you haven't joined our private Facebook group, then please just go to Facebook and search Travel Marketeers, and you will see our group. Join the group, say hi. We're just getting it started, but that's where, as our team comes up with different quick guides to help you in all of your marketing needs, we're going to just drop them in there. I was just talking to Andrea yesterday, and she said, we should do this, an infographic on this. I said, let's do it. Let's put it in the group. So please join if you can. And next week, I am going to be back, and we're going to be talking about social media marketing, or social media monitoring. So what is it? Why is it beneficial? How, some best practices around social media monitoring, and then how do you take what you've collected, the information you've collected through your social media monitoring, sorry, how do you use that information? What do you do with it? What do you do with it? So yeah, if you want to join me next Saturday at 8:30, that's what we're going to be talking about. And as I said earlier, if you've missed any of the travel marketing marketeering sessions, then go to YouTube and search World via Travel Network, and you will find all the ones we've done so far. We're doing them every single Saturday. I think there's every single Saturday. I don't think I'm going to miss one Saturday this for the rest of the year. So I hope that you'll be back. I hope to see you back. Oh, the lights went out. It's that's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. All right. See you next time, travel marketeers. Have a wonderful weekend and just keep on building those systems that will help you attract more new clients, retain your existing clients, and make more money and free by working with the system, free yourself up to be able to work on the rest of your business. Until next time, take care. Bye.